I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not worry about the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, STARBORNInstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show is called Love's Loss. And the reason why you may experience some sort of loss regarding a loved one is because yesterday we had a full moon lunar eclipse at 3 degrees of Libra. And Libra does rule love because its ruler is Venus, and it rules all forms of partnership, particularly legal partnership, such as in a marriage or in a business partnership. And Libra rules the law, and it rules balance and fairness, and it rules diplomacy and compromise, and it rules harmony, and it certainly rules the arts. Libras are very creative and artistic people as well. But the reason why we might be suffering some sort of love's loss right now is because that full moon in Libra yesterday was being harshly aspected by 5 planets in cardinal signs. So it was being severely challenged. And the full moon is the only planet in an air sign in Libra. There isn't any fortification from the sign of Aquarius or of Gemini, because there aren't any planets in that sign. And so that little moon in Libra, even though it was a lunar eclipse, it is taking a beating. And when we have a lunar eclipse, it simply means that it's a full moon, and that means that the moon opposes the sun. That beating is coming from the fact that the sun and Mercury and Uranus, that planet of sudden change and rebellion and freedom, are all in the sign of Aries, 3 of them, and they are opposing that full moon in Libra. And then Pluto in Capricorn is squaring the 3 planets in Aries, and it too is squaring the full moon in Libra. And so that simply means that we could suffer the loss of a loved one right now. And I don't necessarily mean through death. And I don't necessarily mean that they have to be a marriage partner or a romantic partner, because there are all kinds of love. There is the kind of love that you enjoy just through doing things with pals and buddies or family members or your neighbors, or doing things with other people that love the same activity or hobby that you love. Or it can simply be that there can be people that you appreciate quite a bit for their good efforts, and if they move on, or there is a sudden departure or some sort of sudden change in their lives, it could leave a little loss in your own life. And so we can suffer love's loss for different reasons. And it doesn't mean everybody's going to suffer that. And it doesn't mean it's happening to you. But it might be happening around you, and particularly with people who are having very challenging relationships right now. And why would that be? Because there are also 5 planets in the mutable signs. And mutable signs are flexible and adaptable, but they're not feeling like that right now, because Venus, the ruler of the full moon in Libra, that Venus and Neptune are in Pisces, which rules things behind the scenes, and that is an indication that there's plenty of people behind the scenes that really have the best intentions and want the best for everyone. They're very idealistic, but that Venus and Neptune are being harshly squared by Mars and Saturn in Sagittarius, and Mars and Saturn are 2 malefic planets. And they are being opposed by Jupiter in Virgo, which means people who want to do a lot of wishful thinking right now are having a hard time facing facts. But those facts are real, and they do have to be faced. And then there are other people, since Venus is being squared by Saturn, that can suffer a betrayal right now, and that can lead to love's loss. Also, that Venus is being squared by Mars. And when Mars and Venus square or oppose each other, it means that men and women could be quarreling, or they could have a lot of tension in their relationships, and that could lead to love's loss as well. So there are a lot of challenges that we're facing under this full moon. And generally under a full moon, particularly an eclipse, we say that one woman goes and another woman comes. And so there is the possibility that someone that you're very fond of for one reason or another could be going out of your life, and someone else could be coming into your life eventually. And that could prove to be rather harmonious, particularly the person coming into your life. There's also the possibility, since those 3 planets, one of which rules very sudden change, Uranus, are in Aries, opposing the full moon, that there could be love's loss through health problems associated with a stroke or a sudden separation, because Aries rules the head. So you have to be really watching your health right now too. Now, is there any possibility for peace right now? I think it's rather dubious because the challenges are so harsh. But does that mean there is no love around? No. In fact, there can be true love around, and the reason why you would know that it's true love is because it is backed up with real proof. In other words, that full moon yesterday in Libra, right behind it was the planet Jupiter in Virgo, because Virgo is right behind Libra. And that simply means that if you have had a relationship with somebody who has always proven their devotion, perhaps by service to others or service to you, or they have simply been loyal and true and sort of always been around, and that could be a pal or a buddy or a neighbor or a family member, then you would know that their love and their devotion is real, because there would be proof of it. A lot of proof, maybe in small details, but there would be a lot of those. And so this idea that Jupiter is right behind this full moon indicates that if there is a really good relationship or partnership or a reverence for the law and wanting to uphold the law, then it will be substantiated by facts right now. And that means you'll have proof of something really good in your life. So that is possible. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, I think you might just feel like doing whatever you want in your own way. And that could drive some relationship away from you, Aries. But maybe it's time to end that partnership. There are plenty of people around right now who really want peace, or they want to compromise, or they don't want to argue with people. And they may be feeling sort of fed up with the tension or the anger around them. And I don't think they've caused it, but they're in the middle of it in one way or another. And this could happen at work. It could happen in some social activity. It could happen anywhere. And they, I think, want peace right now, and they are ready to leave if they can't get it. That's what that lunar eclipse means. And so if you are wanting to have everything your own way, Aries, the good news is you'll get that. And the reason why is that Mars and Saturn in Sagittarius, 2 malefic planets, are trining all 3 planets in your sign, and one of those is your ruler, Mars. So yes, with 5 planets trining each other in fire signs, you can get what you want right now, Aries. But there may not be a lot of survivors, or there may not be a lot of friendly forces around when you succeed at that. And so I'm going to suggest that you kind of back off a little bit if you can, Aries, because this is a time when very gentle, nice people are not going to take a grandstand play by anybody. Instead, they'll just disappear. And you might suffer love's loss because of that. So I hope you think a little bit more about having everything your own way, and instead try to compromise right now if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, I think that you are in a position to be rather happy with where you are right now. And that is because Jupiter in Virgo is trining your sun, and Pluto in Capricorn is also trining your sun, and they're going to stay that way until early September. And so I think the status quo is working out for you, Taurus, or in fact your health could be getting better, and so could the health of your bank book right now, little by little. And your long-term security is looking pretty good too, or your investments can be looking pretty good. So stay the course, Taurus. And the reason why I am mentioning such an obvious strategy is because Those three planets in Aries, the Sun, Uranus, and Mercury, are right behind your sun sign. And that means, Taurus, that in the background of your life, there could be an explosion. There certainly could be somebody that wants to have everything their own way. There could be a sudden departure or a very surprising occurrence happening in your life. It would be happening in the background of your life, so not everyone would see it, but it could be quite upsetting to you, Taurus. And what I'm urging you to do is stay the course. Just keep doing what you're doing and try not to overreact to any sudden change that can be coming up, because it may not be for the best, Taurus. And I don't think that you should try to upset your apple cart right now, because it's a pretty steady one and it's doing you a lot of good. So if you're going to make a change, I'd sure think twice about it right now, Taurus. There are no planets in fixed signs. There's nothing really challenging you, except I guarantee you behind the scenes there is going to be some sort of sudden surprise. And it may lead to love's loss. But I still think you should stay the course in doing what you're doing, because you're being successful right now. So keep up the good work. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, it's very lucky for you that that full moon lunar eclipse yesterday was in Libra, because that trines your sun sign and the sign of Aquarius. And that simply means, Gemini, that there's a wonderful possibility that somebody very nice is coming your way. And that is because there can have been a change in their life, or there could be another sort of change around you somehow. And so it may be perfectly good, there may be a perfectly good reason why someone has to move on. Maybe they're choosing to go in a different direction. Maybe they're graduating and going on to a different career. But whatever that reason is, it's going to bring somebody very nice into your life as a replacement, Gemini. And I think that you will that will make you happier and happier as time goes on. So this is also a time when there can be some sort of legal judgment or compromise, a sort of a soft one, that does go in your favor, Gemini. So this is there is a possibility of a little bit more peace or compromise or coordination or negotiation headed your way, and it can bring you happiness. And I think that's good, because those planets and mutable signs that I mentioned, 5 of them, they're not going away, and they all square and oppose your sun sign. It doesn't mean your challenges have left you, Gemini, but it does mean there can be somebody pretty nice coming along soon that can help you face them, and that will make you happy. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, I think that this is a time when there is the possibility that you are going to be able to go ahead and face a challenge right now in a way that may result in love's loss. And it doesn't have to be tragic, Cancer. And you also have a great many friends behind the scenes, because Venus and Neptune in Pisces are trining your sun. But this full moon lunar eclipse squared your sun, and remember, your sun sign is a cardinal sign, and Uranus, Mercury, and the sun in Aries also square your sun very strongly, and Pluto in Capricorn is opposing your sun. So what could lead to love's loss? Well, there might be budget cuts. So that could affect you, or it could affect some of your friends, and they may have to move on. It can be that there can be love's loss because someone is taken suddenly ill, particularly with anything that happens to the head, or because of a sudden accident in one way or another. Or it can simply be that there is a relationship that is moving on its own. And in other words, people change all the time. Even family members change, and they move on. And so all of those things are possible. And I know that you have been jarred by abrupt change or rebellious attitudes by other people. And if there is somebody who really wants to have everything their own way, they could make your life miserable right now, Cancer. So you're going to have to seek peace behind the scenes, and it is there. You have a lot more support behind the scenes than you realize, because Venus and Neptune are trining your sun. So my advice to you is withdraw. Cancer, because you can't win every battle right now. So try not to get in any battles. And that way, if you withdraw, at least you'll be happy. And then you'll have to sort of sit something out, as you may experience a little bit of loss this week as other people perhaps move on for one reason or another. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when that lunar eclipse in Libra sextiles your sun. So there is the possibility, even though the lunar eclipse is being severely challenged, because it's in good aspect to your sun sign, it could bring you somebody really nice into your life in a sort of a soft, gentle way. Or there is the possibility that there can be some good legal news or a favorable legal decision coming your way, or at least the opportunity for that, and you should follow up on that, Leo. Also, there is the possibility that a lot of people can be wanting you to be very, very busy right now. And so I'm not so certain that you suffer love's loss, but there can be very sudden change in your life because the Sun, Uranus, and Mercury in Aries are trining your Sun, and Mars and Saturn in Sagittarius are trining your Sun. That's 5 planets. And 3 of them are malefic planets. So one thing you do have to watch out for, Leo, is watch out for anything coming at you too quickly. And if somebody wants you to do something too quickly, you need to slow down and think about it a little bit, because it may have malicious intent behind it. In other words, they may want you to move real fast for their benefit, not for yours. And that's why you need to slow down a little bit if you can. But I do think this is going to be a very busy week for you, and that you can get some rather good news, legal news, or something where a peaceful person enters your life. And I think that can make you happy. Maybe they can help you if you're really busy right now. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, remember I mentioned that there are planets in mutable signs that are all squaring and opposing each other. And that can be really challenging you right now. And that is because Venus and Neptune in Pisces are opposing your sun sign, which means there's a lot of almost disconnect between people who are highly idealistic and wishful thinkers, and perhaps they could be either kidding themselves or kidding other people right now, or just outright lying, and people like you who have a lot of facts and figures at your disposal, and you are being especially careful with them since Jupiter is in your sun sign. So the trouble with that is that the wishful thinkers don't want to face reality, so you might have a little trouble convincing them of your facts and figures. That can be wearing you out a little bit. And also, Mars and Saturn in Sagittarius are the real troublemakers because they square Jupiter in your own sun sign, and they are being forcefully backed up by the 3 planets in Aries. So there can be people who want to orchestrate some sort of wrath right now, or commotion, and they can be really, really angry, not because there's anything to really be angry about, but because they want to orchestrate some problem that can throw you off, Virgo. So you've got to try to calm down and take that with a grain of salt. And there can also be people around that are very slow. And in other words, they sort of don't get it, and they would rather slow you down than cooperate with you. And so you have a lot on your plate right now, Virgo, and you too may suffer love's loss. But I don't think it'll be a real loss if it simply means that the slow people are moving on. That wouldn't bother you. And the people that are orchestrating some sort of angry protest or wrath, if they moved on, that wouldn't bother you either. I don't think they are moving on, but that would bring you peace. So Pluto in Capricorn is trining your sun, which means that people in upper management really like what you're doing, and you need to stick to it. It's just that you can be a nervous wreck if you worry about all these other problems. So you're really going to have to be good at tuning a few things out this week. And if you suffer a loss, in the end, it could be a silver lining and not be a loss at all. So I wouldn't worry about that, Virgo. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time with that full moon lunar eclipse in your sun sign when there can be quite a bit of light on you, Libra. There is no fortification to that full moon because there's nothing in Gemini and there's nothing in Aquarius trining your sun sign where the full moon lunar eclipse is. So you may suffer some sort of love loss right now. And that could be that a neighbor or a friend or a pal is moving on. It also could be that somebody wants to make a real grandstand play right now because the Sun, Mercury, and Uranus, that planet of sudden change and volatility and instability, is opposing that full moon in your sign. And so I think you are going to be surprised by people who sort of want to overtake you or dominate you right now, Libra. And my advice is step back or invent a good excuse why you can't do what they want, because they don't have your best interest in mind at all. In fact, if you decided to leave somebody who was trying to be domineering or arrogant, or simply was, just sort of out of their mind with their own power, it wouldn't be a bad idea if you stepped back and walked out, Libra. That might bring you some peace of mind, because if someone cannot respect you and treat you fairly, what are you doing with them? You're just being a doormat, and that is not love, Libra. In fact, it can make you feel more and more worn down. And so there is the possibility that you may decide to make a change. But if it is in the name of peace, I think that that's a good reason for it. And remember, real love has proof to it. And that is because Jupiter in Virgo is right behind your sun sign. So the people that have proven their devotion to you over time are the ones to stick with. And the people that are just trying to dominate you, you don't need them, Libra. That's not love. That's being a dictator. And so if I were you, I'd say goodbye to that. You don't need it. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when I think you can suffer love's loss. And it can be a genuine love. And the reason why you could be suffering some sort of loss either now, maybe you've just done that, or it's coming up, is because that full moon lunar eclipse in Libra was right behind your sun sign yesterday, and Jupiter in Virgo is right behind it. And that's why I think if there is the possibility that a loved one is moving on, or they have made some sort of quick departure, or there's been budget cuts and they have to go in a different direction, or they're just choosing a different path right now, or if there has been some sort of illness that has been quite costly, then you may have suffered the loss of someone who had proven their love and devotion over time, and it could be heartbreaking. But your sign rules survival and regeneration. And so you do have to sort of move on and seek help behind the scenes, because Venus and Neptune are in Pisces and they are trining your sun sign. So this may be a time when you need to step back and just heal up a little bit and have a little time to yourself, Scorpio. There are no planets in fixed signs at all. There's no battles you have to fight right now. So this may be a time when you should perhaps nurture a broken heart. But you've got to get over it as well. So this is a time for rest if you can get it. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, if there is any love loss in your life, it is because someone is deciding to back away or move on right now, and that is because they want peace. But in your sun sign, there are two dominant planets. They're called malefic planets. Mars, which rules war and aggression and jealousy, greed, and hate, and Saturn, which can rule grudges, or it can rule delays and obstructions. And so with those two heavy-duty planets in your sign, Sagittarius, you may not be feeling too lighthearted and lovable right now. And there are a lot of planets in Aries, 3 of them trining your sun sign. So you can be provoked into making fast actions which could turn out to be to your detriment. So you too need to think seriously about how much wishful thinking you want to do, because Venus and Neptune are squaring your sun, or whether you want to face the facts, particularly about a health condition. and that's because Jupiter is squaring your sun. So you actually have a lot to deal with inside of yourself right now, Sagittarius, and I don't think you should spend a lot of time running around right now doing other people's bidding. This is a time when you really need to quietly face reality yourself. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time when, since yours is a cardinal sign, when there is the possibility that you too can experience the loss of a loved one. And it could be just a coworker or a friend or a neighbor or a family member that's moving on. Or it could be somebody who is trying to be way too domineering because the 3 planets in Aries square your sun, and you could be not wanting to take that anymore, and you may be deciding that you've had it with somebody who just is more of a dictator than a lover. And so you could be a little fed up with other people's aggression at the moment, or their insistence that you sort of jump to their tune. And I would say just withdraw from that, Capricorn, because Jupiter in Virgo is trining your sun. Okay, as long as you stick to proven facts and watch your health and take care of your bank book, you're going to do just fine. So this is a time to pay attention to yourself and to mind your own business. And if you do suffer the loss of a loved one who's moving on or departing, you know, think of it as part of the way, a natural evolution, their natural evolution. I don't think that you are necessarily going to be terribly hurt by that, but you could still experience some sort of loss right now as other people move on. But don't worry, there'll be somebody nice to replace them as well. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, it's really fortunate for you that that full moon lunar eclipse in Libra trined your sun yesterday, because it can bring you a very nice partner or the chance to make some sort of good legal contract right now, or you could be discussing some sort of negotiation that could work out in your favor, which is great. And there are no planets in any of the fixed signs. There's nothing really challenging you right now, Aquarius. You just have to sort of decide what your next step is going to be. And I actually think you're going to get some help with that somebody rather nice and very peace-loving and congenial can be headed your way and can help steer you in a new direction. So this is a very hopeful time for you, Aquarius. And there are not so many problems on your horizon at the moment, certainly not the way there were in January and February. So I hope your life has a little peace in it now, and I think it will. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is simply a time with that lunar eclipse in Libra, 150 degrees away from your sun or in conjunct, when you may not feel love's loss. And that is because you have Venus in your sign, the ruler of Libra, and Neptune, and they can be making you very highly idealistic and wanting the best for everybody, which is wonderful. There's also the possibility that you can be willing to settle peacefully some sort of argument, or you can be hoping to mend a few fences right now, or get over a sort of a sticky situation in your life. And I think as long as you're willing to face the facts and accept them, that you're going to do really well right now. Even though there are other people with Mars and Saturn in Sagittarius that could betray you, or they could be way too aggressive and want to quarrel with you. And so you just have to wave goodbye to them, Pisces, because I think that this is a time when you can certainly make peace with a lot of people, but particularly with yourself. So this is a time to be happy just by yourself, Pisces, and I think that that will heal you and make you feel good. All right, thanks so much for tuning in.